30. It was just a number. But to society, it was a deadline. Alma stared at her phone screen as the message blinked again. Happy birthday, dear. This year by God's grace, we will attend your wedding. She forced a smile. It was the 17th message like that. Not are you happy? Not are you fulfilled? Not are you at peace? Just marriage. She dropped the phone on the bed and stared at the ceiling. 30. And somehow, her life suddenly belonged to everyone else's expectations. Alma wasn't a failure. She had done everything right. She finished university. She got a good job. She helped her family. She paid bills. She showed up for people. She prayed. She believed. She waited. But none of that mattered. Because she wasn't married. At family gatherings, the questions came like clockwork. Alma, any good news? They never meant promotion. They meant a man. She would laugh politely. Soon. Soon. Her favorite lie. Not because she wanted to lie, but because the truth made people uncomfortable. The truth was, she didn't know. Her younger cousin, Abina, got married at 24. The whole family celebrated for weeks. At the wedding, someone tapped Alma's shoulder. You're next. She smiled. But deep inside, she wondered. Next when? Next how? Next with who? The worst part wasn't the questions. It was the silence that followed her answers. The looks. The pity. The assumptions. As if her life was on hold. As if she wasn't living. As if she was incomplete. One evening, after work, Alma entered her apartment. Quiet. Still. Lonely. She dropped her keys and sat on the floor. She didn't even turn on the lights. Because sometimes, darkness matched how she felt inside. She whispered the question she had been afraid to ask out loud. God, did I do something wrong? Her voice broke. I prayed. I waited. I trusted you. Why am I still alone? Tears slid down her face. Not because she hated her life, but because she was tired of defending it. At church, it didn't get easier. Every Sunday, new couples. Wedding announcements. Baby dedications. She clapped. She smiled. She celebrated others. But nobody knew. She went home and cried. One Sunday, during service, the pastor said something. Your life is not late. It is on God's timing. She froze. Her heart pounded. He continued. Stop letting people make you feel behind when you are exactly where God wants you. Alma felt something break inside her. Not pain. Freedom. For the first time in years. She stopped asking God when? And started asking God. Why? Why am I here? Why am I in this season? Why am I still single? And slowly, the answer began to come. She realized something. She had been waiting to live. Waiting to be happy. Waiting to be complete. Waiting for marriage to validate her existence. But God never said her life would start with a husband. Her life had already started. She began to live differently. She traveled. She laughed more. She invested in herself. She started the business she had been afraid to start. She stopped apologizing for her life. She stopped shrinking to fit people's expectations. She stopped explaining herself. But society didn't stop. At 31, the pressure grew louder. You're not getting younger. Men don't like older women. Lower your standards. Don't wait too long. Each word was a dagger. But this time, Alma didn't bleed. Because she had discovered something. Her worth was not determined by her relationship status. One night, she looked at herself in the mirror. Really looked. Not with shame. Not with fear. But with truth. She said softly, I am not behind. I am not late. I am not less. I am not incomplete. She smiled. Not because her life was perfect, but because she had stopped measuring it by society's ruler. Years passed. Alma was no longer the girl waiting to be chosen. She became the woman who chose herself. She built her business. She mentored younger girls. She helped her family. She became whole. Not because someone loved her, but because she loved herself. And then one day, unexpectedly, love found her. Not when she was desperate. Not when she was broken. But when she was complete. When she wasn't searching. When she wasn't begging. When she wasn't waiting. But here's the truth. Love was no longer the greatest thing that happened to her. Finding herself was. Because marriage didn't save her. God did. Purpose did. Healing did. Growth did. She realized. Marriage is beautiful. But it is not an identity. It is not a rescue mission. It is not a measure of worth. At 35, someone asked her the same question again. Why did you marry so late? Alma smiled. And replied. I didn't marry late. I married when I was ready. Then she added softly. And I lived before I was chosen. That night, she sat by her window. Looking at the stars. Thinking about the girl she used to be. The girl who thought she was behind. The girl who thought she was incomplete. The girl who cried herself to sleep. She whispered to her. You made it. And for the first time, 30 was no lunge. 30 was no longer a deadline. It was the beginning. Society said her life was late. But God said her life was right on time.